There is a question I want you to carry with you as we begin this time together. What does it truly take to build your best future? Not a mediocre future, not an average acceptable life, but the very best life you can possibly create with the time you have. Most people never stop to ask this seriously. They drift along, letting circumstances, habits, and other people decide for them. They wake up one day realizing they never built anything lasting, anything truly theirs. And they wonder why life feels unsatisfying, even hollow. I want to tell you plainly, there is a proven blueprint for building your best future, and it is within your reach if you will simply choose to use it. Before we go further, I want to invite you to think about the value of this conversation. If these ideas resonate with you, if you believe they can help you or someone you care about, I encourage you to subscribe and share this message. Because sharing these principles isn't just about spreading words. It's about offering a lifeline to someone who might need exactly this at exactly this moment. Together we can help create lives of purpose, contribution, and genuine success. Now let's begin. The first thing you must understand is that your future is not determined by luck or fate or what others choose to give you. It is shaped by the thoughts you hold most consistently, the goals you set, and the actions you take every single day. This is not some abstract philosophy. It is one of the oldest, most reliable laws of human life. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. We become what we think about. And because most people never think seriously about what they want, they drift toward whatever is easiest, whatever is handed to them, whatever the crowd is doing. That is why so many lives end in quiet disappointment. If you want something better, if you want to build your best possible future, you must begin by deciding exactly what that means to you. You must define it clearly, vividly, because a vague goal leads to vague results. It is like trying to navigate the ocean without a map or compass. The person who knows exactly what they want and keeps it in mind will find a way, even if they must change course or adjust their strategy 100 times. But the person who drifts, who never commits, who says, "I'll see what happens," will almost always end up somewhere they never intended to go. This is the first step in the proven blueprint. Decide precisely what you want, not what others say you should want, not what seems safe or reasonable, but what you, in the quiet of your own mind, know you truly desire. Write it down. Define it in detail, because writing crystallizes thought, and thought, backed by desire, becomes a plan. This is where most people fail before they even begin. They will say, "I just want to be happy," or "I just want to be successful," but they never define what that means, and so they chase shadows and wonder why they feel lost. Once you have decided exactly what you want, you must hold that vision consistently in your mind. Think about it often. Picture yourself already living that life. This is not wishful daydreaming, it is training your mind to see possibilities, to recognize opportunities, to develop the courage and resilience needed to make it real. Every invention, every achievement in human history began in someone's mind as an idea that would not go away. They nurtured it, fed it with attention, protected it from doubt and ridicule until it took form in the world. Your future will be no different. What you hold in mind, you will eventually hold in your hands. The next part of the blueprint is perhaps the most crucial of all. You must act. Thought without action is useless. The world does not pay you for what you know or what you intend. It pays you for what you do. So many people sabotage themselves by waiting for the perfect time, the perfect plan, the perfect conditions. But there is no perfect time. There is only now. And the person who acts, even imperfectly, moves closer to their goal. Action refines thought. It teaches. It tests. It reveals weaknesses so they can be strengthened. And it builds momentum, which is the greatest ally of achievement. But let me tell you this clearly. Not all action is equal. Random, frantic activity is not progress. You must act in alignment with your goal. You must prioritize. You must learn to say no to what does not serve your purpose. You must develop discipline, the ability to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. This is where many fall short. They start strong, but when the novelty wears off or obstacles appear, they quit. They go back to old habits. But the person who persists, who holds the goal clearly in mind and acts every day to move toward it, no matter how small the step, is the person who will succeed. I want you to consider this. Building your best future is not a single decision. It is 1,000 decisions, made day after day, year after year. It is saying yes to study when others choose entertainment. It is investing time in building your skills when others waste it. It is choosing integrity over convenience, excellence over mediocrity, service over selfishness. These choices are not always easy, but they are always worth it, because the life they create is one of confidence, security, and deep satisfaction that cannot be faked or stolen. Remember, too, that you will become like the people you spend the most time with. This is another critical part of the blueprint. Surround yourself with those who encourage your growth, who hold you accountable, who inspire you to be better. Avoid the cynics, the complainers, the small thinkers. Their influence is subtle but powerful. They will convince you to settle, to compromise, to doubt yourself. But when you align yourself with ambitious, positive, purposeful people, you borrow their strength and lend them yours. Together you go farther than you ever could alone. Finally, understand this. Your best future will not come overnight. It will not come without setbacks or failures. But those setbacks are not signs that you should quit. They are signs that you are trying something worthwhile. Each failure teaches you something no book or lecture can. Each difficulty shapes your character, strengthens your resolve, and refines your methods. The people who succeed are not those who never failed, but those who refused to stay down. They used failure as fuel. They saw it as part of the process, not the end of it. So today I invite you to make a decision. Decide that you will not drift any longer. Decide that you will define clearly what you want, that you will hold that vision in your mind, that you will act consistently and intelligently to make it real, that you will choose your influences carefully, that you will persevere through setbacks, because this is the proven blueprint for building your best future, and it is yours to use, starting now. Most people never realize just how much power they hold over their own future. They live as though life is something that simply happens to them, as though they are passengers on a train whose route they cannot change. They wait for luck, for permission, for someone else to tell them what is possible. But the truth is that your future is not a matter of chance, it is a matter of choice. The choices you make today, this week, this year, will determine the life you live tomorrow. This is not a comforting idea for everyone. It means taking responsibility. It means accepting that you cannot blame others forever. But it is also the most liberating idea you will ever encounter, because it means you have control. You can change the direction of your life at any time by changing your choices. Consider how many people complain about their circumstances without ever examining their own habits of thought. They focus on what they lack rather than what they can build. They see obstacles instead of opportunities. They wait for the world to change instead of changing themselves. But history is full of examples of people who faced tremendous challenges and yet rose above them. They did not do it by complaining or wishing. They did it by choosing their response, by refusing to be defined by their setbacks, by deciding that they would write their own story no matter how the first chapters began. I want you to really think about this. What story are you writing with your choices today? Because every day is a page, every habit is a line in that story. Every decision is a sentence that moves you closer to or farther from the life you want. When you choose to study instead of waste time, you are writing a story of growth. When you choose to act instead of procrastinate, you are writing a story of courage. When you choose to speak the truth instead of hiding behind lies, you are writing a story of integrity. And when you choose to help others instead of thinking only of yourself, you are writing a story of value and contribution. This is why I say that the proven blueprint for building your best future begins with taking responsibility for your mind. Because your mind is the control center of your life. It determines what you see, what you believe is possible, and what you are willing to attempt. If you fill it with fear, doubt, and negativity, you will see the world as hostile, limited, unfair. You will hesitate, hold back, and sabotage your own success. But if you fill it with possibility, gratitude, and determination, you will see opportunities everywhere. You will have the courage to try, the resilience to keep going, and the wisdom to learn from your failures. How do you do this? By choosing carefully what you allow into your mind. By reading books that expand your thinking instead of those that simply entertain or distract. By listening to voices that encourage and challenge you, not those that reinforce your fears. By spending time with people who believe in growth, possibility, and purpose. By reflecting daily on your own thoughts and asking yourself whether they serve you or limit you. This is not something you do once. It is a lifelong practice, but it is the foundation on which everything else is built. Once you have begun to shape your mind, you must shape your habits. Because success is not the result of one big, dramatic decision. It is the result of countless small decisions repeated over time. It is built in the quiet hours when no one is watching, in the choice to get up early and plan your day, in the choice to finish what you start, in the choice to give your best even when you feel tired or uninspired. These choices compound. Just as small negative habits lead to decline, small positive habits lead to growth, and over time they define who you are. Think about the power of compounding in nature. A tiny seed, properly nurtured, becomes a towering tree. A single drop of water falling persistently can carve stone. So it is with your habits. Each small act of discipline, of learning, of service, may seem insignificant on its own, but added together day after day, they create something extraordinary. And this is not something reserved for a chosen few. It is available to anyone willing to pay the price of consistency. Because in the end, success is not about brilliance or talent alone. It is about persistence. Another key part of the blueprint is to set clear goals and review them often. Goals give direction to your efforts. They turn vague wishes into specific plans. They help you measure progress and adjust your course. Without goals, you are like a ship without a rudder, drifting wherever the current takes you. But with clear goals, you become the captain of your own destiny. You can chart a course, anticipate obstacles, and keep moving even when the winds change. And the act of writing down your goals, of seeing them in black and white, makes them real. It turns dreams into commitments. But goals alone are not enough. You must back them with plans. Break them down into steps. Ask yourself, what can I do today to move closer to this goal? And then do it, because the best plans in the world are worthless without action. This is where many people falter. They plan and dream but never act, or they act for a while and then give up at the first setback. But if you want to build your best future, you must develop the habit of relentless execution, of doing what you said you would do, even when it is hard, especially when it is hard. And remember, no plan survives contact with reality unchanged. You will encounter obstacles, surprises, and failures. That is not a sign to quit. It is a sign to learn, to adjust, to grow. The most successful people are not those who never failed, but those who refused to be defeated by failure. They treated each setback as a lesson, each obstacle as a teacher. They understood that the road to any worthy goal is not straight but winding, and they stayed on it long after others turned back. So as you think about your future today, I invite you to ask yourself, am I drifting or deciding? Am I reacting to life or shaping it? Am I waiting for the world to give me permission, or am I claiming the right to build my best possible future? Because the choice is yours. It always has been. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can begin the real work of creating the life you truly want. Building your best future demands that you learn one of the greatest skills of all, the ability to think independently. Most people never develop this skill. They borrow their beliefs from the people around them, from the media they consume, from the habits they picked up without ever questioning them. They accept the limits others place on them. They follow the crowd without asking where it is going. But if you want to create a future that is truly your own, you must learn to think for yourself. You must ask, why do I believe what I believe? Where did these ideas come from? Do they serve me or limit me? Because until you question your own assumptions, you will never know if you are living your truth or someone else's. Consider how powerful this is. The person who thinks independently refuses to be controlled by fear. He does not panic just because the crowd does. He does not jump at every new trend or abandon his plan at the first sign of trouble. He understands that the world will always have opinions, and many of them will be wrong. He listens carefully, but he makes his own judgments. He is not arrogant, but he is confident, because he knows that true confidence comes not from blind stubbornness, but from thoughtful understanding. When you develop this kind of mind, you become unshakable. The winds of change may blow, but you stand firm. This skill of independent thinking is not something you are born with. It is something you cultivate. It begins with study, not just casual reading, but serious, focused learning. Study the principles that govern success in your field. Study the lives of those who have achieved what you want to achieve. Study human nature so you can understand yourself and others better. This kind of study is not entertainment. It is preparation. It is sharpening the saw before you cut. Most people will not do this work. That is why so few ever rise above the average. But you can, if you choose to. Another way to cultivate independent thinking is to reflect daily. Take time each day to ask yourself hard questions. What did I do well today? What did I do poorly? What did I learn? What can I do better tomorrow? Most people are too busy or too distracted to reflect. They fill every quiet moment with noise, with distraction, with other people's voices. But the person who wants to build a better future understands the power of silence, of thinking, of listening to his own mind, because in those quiet moments, you can hear the truth. You can see what you really want. You can decide what you will do about it. The person who thinks independently also has the courage to stand alone when necessary. He does not need constant approval. He does not fear criticism. He knows that if you try to please everyone, you will please no one, least of all yourself. This does not mean he is rude or dismissive of others. Quite the opposite. He listens carefully. He learns from everyone, but he does not surrender his judgment to them. He makes decisions based on principle, on careful thought, on his own values. And because of this, people trust him. They may not always agree with him, but they respect him. And respect is the foundation of influence. Let's talk about influence for a moment, because building your best future will require you to influence others. No one succeeds alone. Whether you want to lead a team, grow a business, raise a family, or contribute to your community, you must develop the ability to persuade, to inspire, to move people to action. But influence does not begin with manipulation or clever words. It begins with credibility, and credibility begins with integrity. If people know that you think for yourself, that you stand by your word, that you do not bend with every wind, they will listen to you. They will follow you, not because you demand it, but because you have earned it. This is why building your best future also requires you to develop character, because your character is the foundation on which everything else rests. Skills can be learned, strategies can be copied, but character is what people sense in you, even before you speak. It is the trust you build over years of keeping your promises, of doing the right thing even when it is hard. It is the consistency between what you say and what you do. And make no mistake, the world is watching. People see more than you think. They notice how you treat others, how you handle adversity, how you speak about those who are not present. And over time they decide, can I trust this person? Think of the people you admire most. Are they the loudest, the flashiest, the ones who promise the most? Or are they the ones who deliver? The ones whose words mean something? The ones you know will be there when you need them? That is character, and it is rare, but it is also something you can choose to build. Every day in small decisions, you are either strengthening your character or weakening it. You are either becoming someone others can rely on or someone they cannot, and your future will reflect those choices. So as you think about this blueprint for building your best future, remember that it is not about shortcuts. It is not about tricks or gimmicks. It is about developing yourself into the kind of person who can create and sustain success. A person who thinks independently, who studies and reflects, who acts with integrity, who builds credibility and earns influence. This is not easy work, but it is the most important work you will ever do. Because in the end, you do not get what you want in life. You get what you are. If you truly want to build your best future, you must also understand the power of goals. Not vague wishes or half-formed hopes, but clear, specific, written goals that give direction to your life. Most people never do this. They drift from day to day, reacting to whatever happens, working at tasks someone else has given them, chasing distractions, avoiding discomfort, and then they wonder why life feels aimless, why progress is so slow, why their dreams never seem to materialize. But those who succeed at the highest level know something simple yet profound. You cannot hit a target you do not aim at. You cannot arrive at a destination you have not chosen. Goal setting is the act of choosing your future in advance. It is declaring to yourself and to the world, this is what I will accomplish. And in doing so, you begin to organize your thoughts, your time, your energy toward that purpose. You start to see opportunities where before there was only noise. You begin to recognize the people, the resources, the knowledge that can help you. Your mind, like a heat-seeking missile, becomes programmed to find a way. And even when you are knocked off course, as you inevitably will be, you have something to correct back to. Goals give you focus. They give you clarity. They make your choices easier, because you can ask, does this move me closer to or farther from my goal? But writing down a goal is only the first step. You must review it constantly. Keep it fresh in your mind. Remind yourself daily of what you are working toward. This does not have to be complicated. It can be as simple as reading your goals each morning, visualizing them as already accomplished, and asking yourself, what can I do today to move closer to this? This practice alone separates those who drift from those who achieve, because it keeps you intentional, it makes you proactive, it turns wishful thinking into a deliberate plan of action. And plans matter. Once you have your goal clearly in mind, you must break it down into actionable steps. Many people fail because they never take this step. Their goal remains a vague dream with no bridge from where they are to where they want to be. But the person who sits down and asks, what would it take to achieve this? What are the specific actions? What resources will I need? Who can help me? Is the person who turns dreams into reality. Even if your plan is imperfect, and it will be, it gives you something to improve, something to work with, something to measure against. Action is where the real magic happens. Because no matter how clear your goal, no matter how perfect your plan, nothing changes until you act. And not just once, but repeatedly, consistently. Especially when you don't feel like it. Especially when it's hard. This is where most people fail. They are excited at first when the idea is new and inspiring. But when the work becomes routine, when obstacles appear, when results are slow, they quit. They tell themselves it wasn't meant to be. They move on to the next shiny idea, starting over again and again but never finishing anything. The successful person is different. He acts even when motivation fades. He keeps showing up. He keeps doing the work. And over time, this discipline creates results that seem almost magical to those who watched him but did not see the countless unseen hours of effort. Understand this, your goals must be big enough to inspire you but specific enough to guide you. They should stretch you beyond your comfort zone because that is where growth happens. But they must also be believable to you, or you will sabotage yourself with doubt. This is a balance you must learn to strike, and you will refine it over time. As you achieve one goal, set another. As you grow in capability, raise your sights. Life itself is growth, and those who stop setting goals, who stop striving, who settle for comfort, begin to decline. They grow bored. They lose their edge. They wonder why the world seems to pass them by. Goals also give you resilience. When you know what you are working toward, you can endure setbacks without losing hope. You see failures as feedback, not final. You can adjust your approach without abandoning your purpose. This is one of the most important differences between those who succeed and those who don't. It is not that the successful avoid failure, it is that they refuse to let failure stop them. They learn, they adapt, and they try again. Because they know exactly what they want, and they will not quit until they get it. I want you to think carefully about this today. What are your goals? Not what someone else told you should be your goals. Not what society says success looks like, but what you truly want. What would make your life feel rich, meaningful, satisfying? Define it, write it down, review it daily, make plans to achieve it, act on those plans, adjust as needed, and never give up. This is the proven blueprint for building your best future. It is simple, but do not mistake simple for easy. Most will not do it, but you can. And if you do, you will discover that your best future was always within your reach, waiting for you to claim it. If you want to build your best future, you must also learn the critical role that habits play in shaping your destiny. Because you see, success is not something you achieve in one grand moment of triumph. It is the cumulative result of small, repeated actions carried out day after day. Most people underestimate this. They think success is about big decisions, dramatic changes, sudden opportunities. But the truth is that your life today is the result of your habits up to this point, and your life tomorrow will be the result of the habits you choose starting now. This is both the challenge and the opportunity, because while you may not be able to change your circumstances overnight, you can change your habits, and by changing your habits, you change your life. Consider this carefully. A habit is simply something you do so often it becomes automatic. It no longer requires conscious thought or willpower. This is why habits are so powerful. They free your mind to focus on bigger challenges while ensuring you still make progress on the essentials. But this power cuts both ways. Good habits propel you forward even on your worst days. Bad habits hold you back even on your best days. The successful person understands this. He becomes a careful guardian of his routines. He asks himself regularly, are my habits serving me or sabotaging me? Think about some of the most common habits that hold people back. Procrastination, complaining, blaming others, consuming without learning, reacting instead of planning. These habits may seem small in the moment, but over time they compound into mediocrity, frustration, and regret. Now consider the habits that build success. Planning your day, reading and learning daily, taking consistent action toward your goals, exercising, saving and investing, building strong relationships, practicing gratitude. These too may seem small, but over time they create a life that others call lucky or blessed, not realizing that luck had very little to do with it. The blueprint for your best future requires you to consciously design your habits. This is not about willpower alone. Willpower is limited and unreliable, but environment is powerful. Structure is powerful. The successful person makes success easier by creating an environment that supports good habits. He arranges his time, his space, his tools to reduce friction for the things he wants to do and increase friction for the things he wants to avoid. He understands that discipline is not about being stronger than temptation, but about being smarter than it. For example, if you want to read more, put books in easy reach. If you want to exercise regularly, set out your clothes the night before. If you want to avoid wasting time online, block the sites that distract you. These are small, simple adjustments, but they make the difference between wishing for change and actually changing. Because the person who designs his environment to support his goals is the person who will achieve them. Not because he is better or smarter, but because he is prepared. It is also important to remember that habits are not destiny. They can be changed, they can be replaced. No matter how long you have practiced a bad habit, you can choose to replace it with a better one. But this requires awareness and honesty. You must be willing to look at yourself without excuses, to ask, what am I doing every day that is holding me back? What small change can I make today that, compounded over time, will transform my life? This is not glamorous work. It is not always comfortable, but it is the work that matters most. Because in the end you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. You may have grand visions, detailed plans, powerful motivations, but when you are tired, distracted, discouraged, you will default to your habits. That is why the work of building your best future is really the work of building your best self, of shaping your days so that even on the hard days, you still make progress. Even on the lazy days, you still move forward. Even on the busy days, you do not lose sight of what matters most. Habits are also contagious. The people you spend time with influence your routines more than you realize. If you surround yourself with those who waste time, complain, and accept mediocrity, you will find yourself doing the same. But if you choose to spend time with those who challenge you, who encourage growth, who practice discipline, you will absorb those habits almost without trying. This is why your environment is not just your physical space, but your social space. Choose carefully, because your future depends on it. So I ask you today to take an honest inventory of your habits, not what you hope to do, but what you actually do. Look at your mornings, your evenings, your work hours, your leisure. Ask yourself, are these habits leading me toward my best future or away from it? And then choose one habit to change. Just one, because big changes begin with small shifts. And once you prove to yourself that you can change one habit, you will gain the confidence and skill to change others. Over time, this process will transform you into the kind of person who achieves what others only dream of. This is not a promise of ease, but it is a promise of certainty. If you choose your habits with care and practice them consistently, you will build a future that is truly yours, a future that reflects your values, your goals, your highest potential. Because in the end, you are what you repeatedly do. Excellence is not an act, but a habit, and your best future is built one day at a time, one habit at a time, by the choices you make when no one is watching. Another essential part of the proven blueprint for building your best future is understanding the true nature of adversity. Because no matter how clear your goals are, how carefully you plan, how good your habits become, you will face difficulties. Challenges are not an exception to the rule. They are the rule. They are not signs that you are on the wrong path, but evidence that you are on a meaningful one. Most people misunderstand this. They see problems as unfair, as reasons to give up, as proof that their dream was unrealistic. But the successful person knows that adversity is the test life gives you, to see how badly you want something. It is not there to stop you, but to shape you. Think about how we build strength in the body. You lift weights that challenge your muscles. The muscle fibers break down so they can rebuild stronger. Without resistance, there is no growth. The same is true for your mind, your character, your future. Adversity is the resistance that strengthens you. It reveals your weaknesses so you can address them. It teaches patience, resilience, creativity. It forces you to adapt, to innovate, to persevere when others quit. This is why those who embrace adversity with the right mindset so often achieve things that seem impossible to others. They see what others call obstacles as opportunities to improve. But make no mistake, adversity will test you. It will ask you questions that demand answers. Do you really want this? Are you willing to pay the price? Will you keep going when it is no longer easy or exciting? Many people answer no, even if they don't say it out loud. They shrink back at the first sign of discomfort. They tell themselves it wasn't meant to be, or that the timing is wrong, and so they abandon their dreams and settle for less than they are capable of. But those who build their best future decide in advance that they will not quit. They see adversity as part of the plan, not an exception to it. Let me tell you plainly, there is no success without adversity. There is no achievement worth having that will not demand sacrifice. The greater your goal, the greater the challenges you will face. This is not a reason to be afraid, but a reason to prepare, to strengthen your mind, to develop your skills, to build a network of support, to cultivate habits that carry you through hard days. Because when you are prepared, adversity becomes manageable. It may slow you down, but it cannot stop you. It may humble you, but it will not break you. It becomes the forge in which your best self is formed. Consider the stories of those you admire most. The inventors, the entrepreneurs, the leaders, the artists, the athletes. Did any of them have an easy path? Did they achieve greatness without setbacks, failures, or rejection? No. In fact, their success is often directly proportional to their willingness to endure and learn from adversity. They used failure as a teacher. They did not let mistakes define them, but refine them. They did not allow rejection to destroy their confidence, but used it to sharpen their message, their product, their vision. And in the end, they built something that lasted. You see, adversity also has another gift. It reveals who you are. When things are easy, everyone can look disciplined, confident, motivated. But when things are hard, when nothing seems to work, when you are tired and frustrated, your true character is revealed. Will you blame others? Make excuses? Quit quietly and pretend you never really wanted it? Or will you look honestly at yourself and ask, what can I learn? How can I grow? What can I do differently next time? The person who asks these questions does not fear adversity. He welcomes it, because he knows it is shaping him into the kind of person who can handle the success he seeks. Another reason adversity is so valuable is that it makes you appreciate what you achieve. Easy victories are quickly forgotten, but the success that comes after struggle is savored, remembered, respected. It carries weight and meaning. It becomes part of your story, a source of inspiration to others. When you have fought for something, you take better care of it. You do not squander it or take it for granted. And you become someone worth listening to because you have earned your wisdom the hard way. So I want you to change the way you think about adversity. Stop seeing it as punishment or as bad luck. See it as a gift, as feedback, as training, as a necessary part of the journey. When you hit a wall, don't ask why life is unfair. Ask how you can climb it, go around it, or break through it. When you fail, don't ask why you're cursed. Ask what the failure is trying to teach you. When someone rejects you, don't see it as a verdict on your worth. See it as a chance to refine your message or find someone who truly values what you offer. This is the mindset that builds an unshakable future. Because adversity is not going away. The question is not whether you will face it, but how you will face it. Will you let it define you, limit you, break you, or will you use it, learn from it, and become stronger because of it? The choice is yours, and the choice you make will determine the life you build. Another vital element in the proven blueprint for building your best future is the principle of service. Because no matter what you want to achieve, wealth, influence, respect, love, it will ultimately come to you through your ability to serve others well. This is a truth that cannot be avoided or cheated. Too many people focus on what they want to get without thinking seriously about what they are willing to give. They ask, how can I make more money? Instead of asking, how can I become more valuable to others? But those who understand the real foundation of success know that money, opportunity, and trust flow naturally to those who solve problems, meet needs, and deliver more than is expected. Think carefully about this. Every dollar you earn is proof that you did something that someone else valued enough to pay for. If you want to earn more, the answer is not to demand it, to wish for it, or to resent those who have it. The answer is to find a way to serve better, to solve more meaningful problems, to deliver greater value. The marketplace does not reward intentions or effort alone, it rewards results. The question you should wake up with every morning is not, "What can I take today?" but "What can I contribute?" Because the person who asks that question sincerely every day and acts on the answers cannot help but prosper over time. This principle applies in every field, in every role, at every stage of life. The employee who does only what is asked will always remain replaceable. The employee who anticipates needs, who looks for ways to improve processes, who treats the company's customers as his own, will soon become indispensable. The business owner who cuts corners, who treats customers like numbers, who overpromises and underdelivers, may make quick sales but will not last. But the business owner who sees every customer interaction as an opportunity to serve better, to earn trust, to solve problems thoroughly, builds a reputation that draws people in even when competitors are cheaper or more convenient. Service is not about servility. It is not about letting others walk over you or giving away your value for free. True service is about understanding what people genuinely need and want and delivering it with excellence. It is about taking pride in your work, about caring enough to do it well even when no one is watching, about honoring the trust people place in you. When you see your work as service, you bring integrity to it. You hold yourself to a higher standard. You do not settle for good enough when better is possible. Consider the people you admire most in your own life, the mentors, the leaders, the friends you respect. Are they selfish? Do they hoard their knowledge, their time, their resources, or do they give generously, thoughtfully, with intention? The ones who make the biggest impact are almost always those who serve well. They listen, they share what they know, they help others grow, and because of that they attract opportunities and relationships that others only dream about. This is the paradox of service. The more you focus on meeting others' needs, the more your own needs are met. Not always directly or immediately, but reliably over time. When you help others solve their problems, you become someone they trust. When you give more than you take, you build a reputation that opens doors. When you make life better for others, you find that people want to help you succeed in return. This is not magic. It is the natural consequence of being valuable in a world full of unmet needs. But to live this way requires a shift in thinking. You must let go of the scarcity mindset that sees every interaction as a negotiation over limited resources. You must stop asking, "How little can I get away with doing?" and start asking, "How much can I deliver?" You must replace envy of others' success with curiosity about how they created value. And you must be willing to take the long view, understanding that real success is built over years of consistent, excellent service, not through shortcuts or schemes. This approach also brings a kind of peace, because when you focus on service, you stop obsessing over competition. You are no longer threatened by what others are doing because you are too busy improving what you offer. You stop worrying about luck or favoritism because you know you control what you give. You become less anxious about results because you trust that if you keep serving better, the results will take care of themselves. You shift from a mindset of entitlement to one of contribution, and in doing so, you unlock your true potential. So I challenge you today to examine how you see your work, your relationships, your role in the world. Are you focused on what you get or on what you give? Are you asking for more rewards without offering more value? Or are you committed to mastering your craft, to understanding those you serve, to delivering more than is expected? Because the person who chooses the path of service is the person who builds not just a successful future, but a meaningful one. A future defined not just by wealth, but by the respect, gratitude, and trust of those whose lives they have improved. As we come to the final part of this message on building your best future, I want to speak to you about perhaps the most important element of all, the decision to take ownership of your life. Because everything we have discussed, the power of clear goals, the discipline of habits, the acceptance of adversity, the commitment to service, ultimately depends on your willingness to take full responsibility for who you are and what you do. This is where many people falter. They want success without responsibility. They want rewards without risk. They want change without effort. But life does not work that way. The moment you decide to own your choices, your actions, your results, good and bad, is the moment you unlock your true power to create your best future. Think about it. When you blame others, your family, your boss, the government, the economy, you give away your power. You say, in effect, I am helpless. My life depends on forces outside my control. And while it is true that you cannot control everything, you can always control your response. You can choose how you think, how you act, how you prepare, how you persevere. The most successful people do not pretend they can avoid hardship. They simply refuse to be victims of it. They say, this is my life and I will make of it what I can. That mindset alone separates those who achieve from those who only wish. Owning your life means being brutally honest with yourself. It means asking hard questions without flinching. Am I really doing my best? Am I using my time wisely? Am I building habits that lead where I want to go? Am I avoiding responsibility for my failures by blaming others? These are not comfortable questions, but they are necessary, because you cannot fix what you will not face. The person who is willing to see the truth about themselves without excuses, without denial, is the person who can change anything they choose to. It also means letting go of the fantasy of certainty. Many people wait to act until they are sure it will work, sure they won't fail, sure they won't be embarrassed. But certainty is an illusion. The only real security in life comes from your ability to adapt, to learn, to respond. Ownership is understanding that while you cannot guarantee outcomes, you can guarantee your effort, your preparation, your persistence. You can guarantee that you will keep going when others stop. And that alone often makes the difference. When you choose ownership, you stop waiting for permission. You stop waiting for someone else to discover you, to promote you, to save you. You realize that no one is coming, that your future is yours to build or to waste. This is not a harsh truth, it is a liberating one. Because if it depends on you, then you can do something about it. You can learn what you need to learn. You can develop the skills you need. You can choose better habits. You can change your approach. You can get up one more time than you fall. And that is enough. Taking ownership also means recognizing the impact you have on others. Your life is not lived in isolation. Your choices affect your family, your friends, your colleagues, your community. When you strive for excellence, when you practice discipline, when you serve well, you set an example. You lift others up. You make it easier for them to believe in their own potential. And there is no greater legacy than that. To live in such a way that others are inspired to do the same. But ownership is not something you declare once. It is something you practice daily. It is in the way you approach your work, even when it feels thankless. In the way you treat others, even when they are difficult. In the way you manage your thoughts, even when they drift toward fear or doubt. It is a discipline of mind and character. It is the habit of asking, what can I do about this? Instead of saying, why is this happening to me? It is refusing to hand over control of your emotions, your time, your effort, to anything outside yourself. This is the final key in the blueprint for building your best future. Because when you own your life, you stop being reactive and start being proactive. You stop letting circumstances dictate your mood, your actions, your destiny. You begin to shape your days instead of being shaped by them. And over time, those days become a life you can be proud of, a life that reflects your values, your potential, your highest self. So as we close, I want to leave you with this challenge. Decide today to take full responsibility for your future. Do not wait for tomorrow. Do not wait for better circumstances or more motivation. Choose now to act, to think clearly about what you want, to build the habits that will get you there, to accept adversity as the price of growth, to serve others with integrity and excellence, and above all, to own every choice you make. Because in the end, your best future is not given to you. It is built by you. If these ideas have spoken to you, if you believe they can help someone else you care about, I encourage you to share this message, to subscribe for more, and to be part of spreading this philosophy of ownership, service, and growth. Together, we can help more people discover that their best future is within their grasp, waiting to be built one choice at a time.